Hey, thanks for stopping in to another Kitchen Quickie. Man, have I got a treat for you guys tonight. Well, I've been feeling my Cajun oats lately. I've been binge watching old episodes of my good old pal Emeril Lagasse, and it just started to stir those New Orleans cravings that I got inside of me. So tonight, I'm gonna make a dish I haven't made in 100 years, but it's probably one of my favorite dishes. A very simple dish to make: Shrimp Creole. I just had an itch for it. I had some andouille sausage left over from last week when I made chili. So I got some nice andouille sausage, about a pound sliced up on a bias. I got about a pound of jumbo shrimp cleaned and deveined. Now listen, guys, you can make your seafood person do the cleaning and the deveining, but I showed you in an episode of one of my shows. It's really simple, and if you do it at home, you get the added bonus of saving up those shrimp shells. You just stick them in a Ziploc bag, stash them in the freezer. When you got a full bag of those things, you can make some lights out shrimp stock with that. I mean, and that you could use for all kinds of crazy stuff like seafood chowders and sauces and soups and stews and things even like this. But just a little pro tip for you. So I got andouille, I got my shrimp. Those are my proteins, and I have the quintessential base for all Louisiana-based cooking, the Trinity. Let me show you what this looks like. This is the Trinity. Okay, now, universally, the base for any kind of cooking is an mirepoix, which is carrots, celery, and onion. But only in Louisiana do they omit the carrot and use bell pepper instead, and they call this the Trinity. And this is the base of all Louisiana-based cooking, whether it be Cajun cooking or Creole cooking, which I'm going to tell you what the difference between that is in a second too. So we have our Trinity here. So very important. This is the base of our Shrimp Creole. I got 1 cup of diced bell pepper. You could use whatever color you want. I'm just using green because they look good. 1 cup of diced celery and 1 cup of diced Vidalia onion. You could put more of each or less or whatever, however you want to do this. But this is always going to be the base for all Louisiana cooking. So I got my Trinity, I got my proteins, and I'm ready to get over to the stove and mix this whole thing up. But before I do anything, let's kick the night off with a nice cold beer. I got me a nice, just as an aperitif here, a nice Yingling Porter. Yeah, babe. Okay, so I got my Emeril Lagasse official apron on. I'm ready to get down with some Shrimp Creole. So like my buddy Emeril used to say, let's go over to the stove and kick it up a notch. I got a nice big 3-quart saute pan just getting hot here on the stove. If you don't have a saute pan this big, no problem. You could use a sauce pot. So we're going to start off with a couple of tablespoons of fat. Now, you could use whatever. The beautiful thing about Shrimp Creole is that there's really no set way to make this. You can make this. There's about 2 million different recipes on how to make this. Okay, so it's really, you could make it with almost anything you have on hand. Okay, as long as you get the fundamentals down. So as far as a fat goes, you could use butter, you could use oil. I'm going a little extra here, and I'm using a little pork fat. I mean, we're going big time tonight, kids. So I got 2 tablespoons of bacon fat going down into my pan. So I'm gonna let this melt out. Okay. All right. So while this is just rendering out, let me talk to you about the difference between Cajun cooking and Creole cooking, because there is a difference. Now, it drives me nuts when I go to a Cajun style restaurant and they tell me it's authentic Louisiana style food, and they have no fucking idea what the hell they're talking about. Now, the difference between Cajun and Creole cooking. Cajun cooking is more cityfied, okay? Creole cooking is more country. It's more bayou country. Now, it's important because a lot of the dishes in Louisiana, whether it be Cajun or Creole, are very similar in nature. It's just how they're prepared is a little different. For example, this dish, Shrimp Creole. This is the more cityfied version, so it goes together a little quicker. It's a little bit lighter, okay? as opposed to the country version, which would be shrimp étouffée, which would be a little bit more low and slow, a little darker. You cook the roux a little longer, so it's got a little bit more hardiness. It's a little bit more rustic. Now, the influences in Cajun cooking or Creole cooking, they're all the same. They're all European based. So I'm going to put my onion down first. Okay. I'm going to kick that around a little bit. So we want this to get translucent. Okay. So as I was saying, the influences in Louisiana style cooking are all Spanish, French, African, and Italian. Now Louisiana was like a melting pot. So you have a lot of that influence in the cooking, in the spices, in the seasoning, and the way things go together. Like this is basically a tomato sauce when you get it all down to it. But it's a tomato sauce that has a lot of other influences in it. Now, like I said, when you get to the Bayou country, the étouffée would be cooked a little bit lower and slower. It's not really so much, it's not so red, it's more on a browner side. Now, we got our peppers going down. Okay. And now we're going to add our celery to this. Okay. And that's going to give a nice little level of sweetness. The bell pepper, the celery, the onions. This is a nice hearty dish. And this is a great cold weather dish too, you know. But, because it's perpetually hot in Louisiana, you can eat this year round. So I'm just going to let these cook down a little bit. I'm going to hit them with a little salt, just to sweat them out, and some pepper. Okay? Just like the chili episode, this is all about building flavors. Okay? Building a house. All right? So we got a little salt, a little pepper. And you're going to see the ingredients to this dish are pretty simple. It goes pretty quick. It simmers on the stove top for about 30-35 minutes. Everything cooks in one pan here. And once this is all rendered down, we're going to turn this into a roux. So I hope you guys are hungry, because I am. I'm excited about this. I've been jonesing for this all day long. Okay, my vegetables are starting to sweat out a little bit here. So to that, I'm going to add about 5 cloves of smashed garlic that I turned into a paste with a little kosher salt. In Louisiana cooking, you could never have enough garlic. I mean, you could use 5 cloves, you could use 19 cloves, shit, you could use 32 cloves. It don't matter, man. It's Louisiana cooking. Oh, yeah. I mean, you want to talk about social distancing. You put about 19 cloves of garlic in this and you start walking around mouth breathing, you don't have to worry about catching the fucking corona, I can tell you that right now. Hey, oh yeah, babe. Oh, this smells amazing. This is just gonna be lights out good, man. I can't wait. So we're gonna let this cook a little bit longer. Okay, and then you're gonna see some magic start to happen. Our vegetables are nice and sweated out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add about 2 tablespoons of flour to this, and I want to turn this into a roux. The roux is gonna be our thickening agent. This is another French cooking technique, okay, but very common in Louisiana. You will not see, especially in most southern kitchens, to thicken up a stew or a sauce or anything, you will not see them use cornstarch, okay? That's like a fucking insomnia, okay? Making a roux is an art form. You always want to use equal parts fat to flour. So I use 2 tablespoons of bacon fat, so I'm going to use 2 tablespoons of flour to that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cook this out, okay? Now this is called the blonde stage. If I want to make this darker, I'd cook it a little darker to a peanut butter stage. Typically for an étouffée, that's what you would do. You'd cook it down to the peanut butter stage. For gumbos, you'd cook it to what's called a chocolate stage, where it turns a dark brown. So this is good. We like this here. So now to the roux, okay, I'm going to add my sausage first. Render this out, okay. So I got my andouille in there. Still continuing to cook my roux. Keep scraping the bottom so it don't burn. Now once we deglaze the pan, we're going to deglaze it with a couple things. I got about 2 cups of chicken stock. Okay. And to the chicken stock, I'm going to add about 2 cans or 28 ounces of chopped tomato. Okay, like a nice, good stewed tomato product. I'm going to add about 6 ounces of tomato paste. You know, one of those small little cans of tomato paste. Okay. Now we just want to brown the sausage a little bit, let some of the fat render out. Okay, remember this is andouille sausage is already smoked, it's already cooked. And this is going to, like I said, thicken our liquid. Now, with a roux, or any kind of thickening agent, even cornstarch or arrowroot or anything like that, it never reaches its full thickening power until it comes to a complete boil. So we're going to have to let this come to a boil, then reduce it down to simmer. Okay. All right, so let's deglaze this now with our chicken stock. Okay, there we go. You just want to give this a good little stir. I'm going to lower the heat on this. Okay, just want to get that roux all worked in. Okay, oh yeah, oh babe. This is smelling like, it's bringing back some good memories, man. It's bringing back some of those memories of late night Louisiana cooking. Yeah, baby. Okay, talk to me, baby, talk to me. So, I'm going to add my tomatoes. Okay, just everybody right in the pot here. Okay. Told you I love this one pot cooking. Plus to clean up. So we got 2 cans of tomatoes. Okay, just get this all worked in there carefully. Carefully. Alright, just want to get this all incorporated, and then we're going to season her up. Yeah, that's it. And, you know, if it gets too thick on you too soon, and you want to thin it out a little bit, just add a little more stock or a little water or beer, some wine, whatever you're drinking. Like I said, there's really no right or wrong way to make shrimp Creole. A lot of this is a peasant food, so it was made with whatever they had on hand at the time. You don't have to use shrimp. You could use any kind of seafood, any kind of protein. You can make this with chicken. You can make it with scallops. You can make it with lobster, which I've done that quite a few times. You could make this with crawfish if you can get your hands on some crawfish. I mean, sky's the limit. Go nuts. Okay? So, to that we're going to add our tomato paste, and that's going to give it a little body. Okay, it's going to fortify it. Really bring that tomato flavor home. Yeah, let's scrape this out. Okay. Okay. There we go. Now, we're going to season this up. Let's work that tomato paste in. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Now, we're going to let this, once this is all seasoned up, I'm going to let this simmer on the stove for about 35 minutes total. So for the first 30 minutes, I'm going to let it go covered. Then, for the last 5, I'm going to bury my shrimp in here. Okay, shrimp don't take a long time to cook, and it's got a built-in thermometer, so, you know, just want to get the flavors all married together and incorporated. Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's season this up now. First, we're going to add about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Okay? It's a big condiment in Louisiana. And about a teaspoon of hot sauce. Now, you really should be using Tabasco sauce. Not using Tabasco sauce in Louisiana cooking is kind of an infamia, but okay, I didn't have any, so I'm making do. So about half a teaspoon of salt, nice teaspoon of black pepper. So to this I'm going to add some Cajun seasoning. Now you can make your own essence. You can go on Emerald's website and make it. You can find it in the supermarket. I'm using 2 different kinds. I'm using this Bayou Blast, which got a lot of cayenne in it. So about teaspoon of that. And maybe like a half a teaspoon of his original essence. Okay. Just get it. That's why I didn't put a lot of salt, because this already has salt in it. Alright. And just to wake it up a little bit, couple little sprinkles of cayenne pepper. This is Cajun cooking. Okay? This is supposed to put a little lead in your pencil. Okay? So here we go. All right. Now you can taste it. Okay? Give it a little taste. See if you need to. You know what? I think I want a little bit more essence in that. Ooh, she's talking. She's going, ooh, baby. Ooh, sprinkle me, honey. Come on, sugar. All right, here we go. Oh, this is just magnificent smelling. Okay, let's give it a shot. That's good. That is spot on. So we're gonna let this simmer a little bit. Okay. Like I said, about 30 minutes. With the lid, every so often, come on by and give it a little stir. And once it goes past the 30-minute mark, we'll add our shrimp and we'll be ready to eat. Okay, so our Creole sauce has been simmering for about 30 minutes. I added a couple of bay leaves to it too, which neutralizes a lot of the acid and imparts a nice floral fragrance to it. But you don't want to eat these, so you want to fish them out, okay? Because then they would wreak havoc on your stomach. So we're going to give this a quick little turn. I re-seasoned it, added a little bit more salt, a little bit more pepper. Matter of fact, I'm going to add a little bit more black pepper right now because I like a lot of black pepper. This has got some nice heat to it, as you can see. It coats the back of a spoon nice. And if you think about it, I mean, tomato-wise, all that went into this was just chopped tomatoes, a little tomato paste, and chicken broth. What's giving it this nice silkiness is that roux that we made earlier, okay? So, now my shrimps are gonna go in, right? Just throw them right in there and just give them a little stir, give it about 5 minutes, and these shrimps are gonna cook right in the Creole sauce. I mean, come on. If you were a shrimp and you knew your day was gonna end like this, and a pot of just Creole, Cajun love with some andouille sausage and a Trinity and, oh, wow. You can't hear it, but those shrimp are running wild in there. They're going fucking apeshit. All right, so about another 5 minutes, these shrimps are gonna be done, and we'll be ready to munch. Okay, so my shrimp Creole is done. I got it plated up, and I just want you to take a quick look and see what this looks like. Okay, check that out. So traditionally, this is usually served with a little white rice. And Lord knows there's no shortage of white rice in New Orleans. But I kept it low carb tonight. I just did a little cauliflower rice. What I did was I just steamed it in the microwave. I bought that frozen shit in a bag. Steamed it in the microwave, tossed it with a little essence and some butter just to make it taste good. And just plated it up on top. Now I'm going to garnish it with some chives. Okay, just some chopped chives here. And I got to do it. I got to do it for my buddy Emerald. You ready? Bam! There you go. So, that's your shrimp Creole. Let's give this a taste. So, let's dig into this. Wow. Oh, that's amazing. You get the heat from the cayenne and the andouille. So the shrimp is perfectly cooked. Our sauce is nice and silky. And you know what? The cauliflower rice goes nice with this. Thanks for stopping into this kitchen, Quickie. Hope you feel inspired to make yourself a little New Orleans fare. And until I see you again, a salud.